I'm wondering if you can help individuals who might be listening to this understand the difference between Tantra and Neotantra.
Yeah, the best explanation I like to give is that there's like almost like two parallel paths, So you have Neo Tantra and I call it classical Tantra. You said yogic Tantra, whatever works, traditional. So these are kind of like two parallel paths. Classical Tantra started, like we said, the earliest written down text 1,500 years ago, 1,000 years, but the oral tradition, many, many thousand years, sorry, earlier than that, right? The Neo Tantra path started around 100, 110 years ago. So it's still it's pretty old, but it was a theosophical um, invention, basically. So they took parts of Tantra and then they created, they focused on that and they created almost like their own identity and own path, right? So the idea with classical Tantra is that you can do tantric eating, you can do tantric breathing, you can do tantric, you know, picking up, the groceries from the store. You can do anything in the world tantric, right? Including sex. And then the Theosophical Society, amongst others, just honed in on that part and magnified it and added some somatic practices, and not to make it like it's a great tool, but it's just not exactly what classical tantra was all about. So these two kind of have developed in parallel, and then there are many overlaps, but they are different. They're not the same. And what we hear is only this, only the neo-tantric practices that are 100 years old. So Tantra, both classical Tantra and Neo-Tantra, has been associated with the word Tantra, whilst it's a little bit incorrect to say, we can have an umbrella and say, both of them go under the word Tantra, but then it's a bit confusing. So it's good just to say Neo-Tantra or sexual Tantra, we could also call it. We could call it sacred sexuality, uh, and things like that. So those two are there, and it's just good to make a distinguish between them, because a lot of teachers nowadays, they just say they teach traditional Tantra, but it's actually not, right? So you just say, what you're doing, you just know what you're getting into, basically.